Soil is a mixture of weathered rock, decayed organic matter is from living organisms, mineral fragments, water, and air. So all of these things come together to make up what we call soil. You might call it dirt. The formation of soil takes thousands of years. So this would be something that's non-renewable because it takes so long for it to form. The composition of soil, or you could think of this as the ingredients to make up soil, consists of clay, silt, sand, and other small particles of sediment. If you look at the first picture at the top, clay is the smallest of the soil composition that we'll see. Then silt, then sand, and then gravel. And you can see the comparison of size on the picture above. Humus is decaying, dark-colored plant and animal matter. So decaying means that these plants and animals have died and they're breaking down. In the pictures below, you see that humus is right there at the top near the grass. In both pictures, it's that dark looking soil. Water and air fill in the spaces between soil particles. So remember, we also have water and air inside of our soil. When we talk about the soil layers, we call them the soil profile, and we kind of separate them by soil horizons. If you look at the picture, we have the O horizon, which is that very top where the plants are actually growing. You have the A horizon, which is like the plant's roots and then some organic matter. The B horizon, where you see that filtration or leaching is happening, that's where that water runs through the soil. And then the C horizon, where you have your parent material, which is the rock that's been weathered to create all the soil above it. We're going to break down each layer. So the A horizon is the top layer of soil. You can see what's circled in the picture. It may be covered with organic litter, that's organic matter from living animals or plants, that may turn into humus. If the living plants and animals die and decay, it'll turn into humus. It is very fertile, that means very good for plants to grow, with more humus and less rock and mineral particles than other layers. So more living organisms, more living or decayed matter will be up in the A horizon. The next horizon is the B horizon, which is the middle layer. This contains less humus, so less organic matter, and a lighter color than the A horizon. Minerals travel from horizon A to horizon B in a process called leaching. So when it rains, the water goes through the soil, and the water carries those minerals from the A horizon to the B horizon, and we call that leaching. The C horizon is the bottom soil layer, has very little organic matter, and is not strongly affected by leaching. That means that water and those minerals aren't really getting down deep enough to that C horizon. The C horizon also contains rock, which we call the parent rock. This is the rock that's been weathered or broken down to form all the soil above it. Things that influence how soil forms. The climate, it could be a cold climate or warm climate, it's going to affect soil differently. The slope of the land, is it on a hill, is it flat land? That's going to affect the way the soil forms as well. The type of rock that's being broken down to make the soil. Remember, rocks have different minerals that make them up. So different minerals are going to have different soil compositions. The type of vegetation that's represented in the soil, that's plants. The length of the time the rock has been weathered will also affect how the soil is formed. So lots of different things that affect soil. Things that decrease the quality of soil, so they harm the quality of soil, are cultivation, which is farming. Every time that farmer plows up that land, it's loosening that soil and making it easier for it to be eroded and decreasing the quality of it. Forest harvesting, cutting down trees. When you cut down the tree, the roots from the tree die. So those roots are what kind of holds that soil into place. So when those roots go away, that soil is more easily swept away by water, wind, um, or gravity. Overgrazing, letting your animals, whether they're cows or sheep, horses, graze too much on the land, which can take away the plants again, leaving the soil to be eroded more easily. And urban construction. Things that prevent soil erosion. So we're helping soil stay in place. We're trying to prevent it from going away. Are managing crops, so this would be like with farmers. Bare soil can be covered with decaying plants to help keep that soil in place. Farmers can graze animals on vegetation instead of plowing the vegetation under. So that way the roots are still kind of staying in place to hold that soil there. You can also reduce erosion on slopes, so that's like hillsides, by contour farming and terracing. And we're going to talk about these two in the next slide so you can get some a good understanding of what these two things are. Contour farming is the first thing we're going to talk about. And contour farming looks like this. Is basically where the farmer has its crops in rows or ridges built by tilling, and the plants on the contour create hundreds of small dams. These ridges or dams slow water flow and increase filtration, which reduces erosion. So this farmer is going to plant his crops so that they curve with the curvature of the land or the contour of the land. We call that contour farming. The next type we're going to talk about is terracing. Terracing almost looks like cutting stair steps into the side of a hill or the land. It breaks long slopes into shorter ones. They usually follow the contour of the land, the slope or the curvature of the land. As water makes its way down the hill, terraces serve as small dams to intercept water and guide it to an outlet. That way that water isn't just flowing straight down that hillside and washing out all the crops. Other ways to prevent soil erosion would be to reduce erosion at a construction site. So this might come in handy because we're making our new McIntyre Park Middle School. So in ways for those construction workers to reduce soil erosion, they might expose the ground, cover it with mats or plastic coverings to keep that soil in place. Water can also be sprayed over bare soil to reduce wind erosion, reduce that wind from blowing away all that soil. Because think about when you wet the soil, it's going to make the soil heavier, and it's going to make it harder for the wind to pick up those pieces of soil and carry them away. Also, topsoil can be replaced and trees are planted. So they can put down extra topsoil and then plant trees so those roots can go deep down in the ground to hold that soil in place. To summarize what we're looking at today and what we're learning about, you want to know what makes up soil. So what are all those little pieces that come together to form our soil? I want you to ask yourself this question now and try to answer it, and then we have one more slide that you're going to kind of practice with. All right, the next part I want you to practice with is looking at the soil horizons. I want you to see if you can place these qualifications for the A horizon, B horizon, or C horizon. Remember, these are not in order, but this would be like a test to see how much you've remembered from this lesson. When you come to class, we'll see how well you remember what this lesson is about and how well you can place information for each soil horizon.